Our next lecture is on Hadoop. Apache Hadoop is a collection of open source software utilities that facilitate using a network of many computers to solve problems involving massive amounts of data and computation. So Hadoop is basically an open source software framework. This is a framework and it is designed for both fulfilling the storage needs and the processing needs of large data on a cluster of commodity hardware. Because the idea is a distributed system, but the good thing is that it is not some expensive workstations. Rather, it is a cluster of or a collection of commodity hardware or basic PCs. This was created by Doug Cutting and Mike Carafella in 2005. And it is actually named after Cutting's son's toy elephant. And that's why you see an elephant in its logo as well. So formally, we can say that Hadoop is a scalable, fault-tolerant distributed system for data storage and processing. Okay? So you can add any number of machines, scale it to any factor that you require, since it has some form of a redundancy. So it is fault tolerant, and essentially it is a distributed system for data storage and processing. Hadoop has basically two main components, which is Hadoop HDFS and Mathematics. The Hadoop distributed file system, or Hadoop HDFS, is a self-healing, high bandwidth cluster storage. So this is essentially a file system that is optimized for working in environments that are distributed. It is a reliable, redundant, and distributed file system for large files. MapReduce is a fault-tolerant distributed processing. This is for optimizing storage. This is for using that storage or distributed storage in an optimized manner. So this is for processing. It is a programming model technically for processing sets of data that come from different machines, and it maps inputs to outputs and reducing the output of multiple mappers to one out of few answers. So what it does is, in the distributed environment, when you get output from multiple machines, then it makes sure how to put all of them together to get one single, proper final output. Hadoop operates both on structured and unstructured data. So it has the ability to keep the traditional like RDBMS formats as well, and the non-traditional like NoSQLs or non-structured data as well. It is large and an active ecosystem. So there are constantly things being built, things being enhanced in this ecosystem. And it is essentially open source. Okay? Even though Apache has the basic license, but it is even then an open source which can be contributed to by different vendors. Some of the uses for Hadoop are, it is data intensive, text processing in any application where you've got a lot of data that you need to process, and typically textual data, then you can use Hadoop solutions for that, similar to what e-commerce sites have these days. Then assembly of large genomes, where you've got medical data. Medical data is also again huge in size. You can use that using Hadoop. Then there is graph mining, social media data, machine learning and data mining, large-scale social network analysis. All of these are suited applications for an Hadoop architecture. So all of these would be very good if we implemented them through using the Hadoop architecture. Some of the companies that already use Hadoop are like Facebook, IBM, Twitter, Amazon, Samsung, Yahoo, New York Times. Now, this is one of the newspapers that they have a lot of textual data. So you've got Netflix as well. So there is a whole variety of different kinds of organizations that use Hadoop for their own purposes.